The toothbrush. There are some arguments which bounce and echo around my head and I can never seem to get a firm grip on them. Imagine a circular chain of events where the combined problems prevent a solution from ever being arrived at. But then I see a video or read an article or something and the whole thing just clicks into place. And that's how I arrived at the toothbrush. I saw this ad. And it triggered a thought process that culminated somewhere. So here we go. We all need a toothbrush, and the toothbrush will never be permanent. By its very nature, it will eventually reach a point where it can't be used anymore and will need to be thrown away and replaced. And this counts for electric toothbrushes too. No one gets off easy in this video. The chassis of an electric toothbrush will always be more long-lasting than the non-electric variety. The bristle part of the toothbrush is, however, probably just as disposable and replaceable, but eventually the battery on that electric toothbrush will die and need to be replaced, just like every other consumable. The toothbrush is currently made of plastic. I don't think I need to explain why and how plastic is bad, so I won't, other than to say that it can't really be recycled. It might be physically possible, but not practical from a cost perspective. It will always be cheaper to make more plastic than to recycle old plastic. So, in the future, if we were to propose a world where plastic did not exist, what would that look like for the toothbrush? If we look to history for answers, then we would probably be arriving at some kind of bone or wood for the handle with animal hair for the bristles. Is that the future we see for ourselves? Maybe it is. If so, how do we get there? The company that makes this toothbrush exists on the stock market. The management of that company is compelled by its shareholders to make money. That is their only reason to exist. The company stops making money, then they find new management. Insofar as it might look like they care, it is only because they believe that overall they will make more money if people perceive that to be the case. ESG, Environmental, Social, Governance. The three-letter acronym salad is rife here. In my mind, the only thing I really care about when all's said and done is the environment. If we don't have a stable environment on our planet, then it is potentially more dangerous than whether a company has the correct social and governance structures in place. So in my world, this particular three-letter acronym cares about the environment for about a third of its efforts. The effort of the other 2/3 is directed at other, less important in my mind, things. DEI. In this three-letter acronym, the E doesn't even stand for environment. It stands for equity, diversity, equity, and inclusion. So in my mind, I can write off this whole thing. If I ever see a company promoting a DEI scheme, I immediately think they are doing so because they can't directly address the environmental concerns of their business and are diverting my attention to the things it is doing instead as some sort of sleight of hand. And by the by, if these social issues are things you do care about, that is okay, absolutely fine. We all have things in our lives that matter more than others. I'm just giving my opinion about the things that matter more to me. And for me, the environment is literally the beginning, middle, and end of the story. My opinion here, literally see all of these social programs as misdirection and obfuscation. CSR, corporate social responsibility. We aren't even defining what the social responsibility is that this corporation is pursuing in this acronym. The company has a corporate social responsibility, but how that responsibility manifests itself in real world consequences is up for discussion. And is it just me, or does it feel like the environment is being passed over for other, more socially conscious agendas? Could it be that saving the planet is actually incredibly difficult, and that making that fact obvious might cause some issues? And that maybe it might be better to start making a big noise over here so no one notices. Let me be clear. I don't know what I'm talking about here. I'm not a natural conspiracist. I'm an absolutist. This is speculation on my part. The idea that the social agenda could be a giant theme park where we all get a roller coaster dedicated to our particular identity, specifically so that we don't see the massive trash heap of environmental destruction left behind, is really a conjuring of my own mind. But it isn't inconceivable either. Conspiracies aside, a company exists to make money. They do not exist to further environmental or social programs unless that endeavour furthers their aim for making more money. If it ever becomes clear to the corporate world that the cost of these programs is more than the benefits they receive in return, then they will stop them. If people buy the same amount of mayonnaise before and after you applied your social agenda to it, then the cost of that agenda is not profitable. And so we arrive back at the toothbrush. Where is the incentive to stop making them plastic? From the corporate side of things, they are probably happy with the status quo. A plastic toothbrush is cheap to produce and can be done at scale. Could a wooden or bone toothbrush be produced for a comparable price in similar quantities and last a similar length of time? I very much doubt it. And the reason why I doubt it is because if this made more money, then they would be doing it already. As far as I can tell, there is no political will to make this happen. Every now and then, a new terrible fact about plastic is discovered, and for a brief time it feels like the world cares, but just as quickly a new fact about something else pops up and the issue goes away. And this is not to mention all of the other things in this world that depend on plastic and which couldn't be swapped for wood or bone. How do we package wet products if not with plastic? How do we maintain sterilisation on medical products? How do we make a power tool? Because we aren't just talking about plastic here. We are talking about the entire consumerist capitalist environment. If we have to unilaterally remove plastic from every single product on the market, is there even a market left? And this is the circular bit of logic I always end up. In order to remove plastic from our lives and save the planet, we have to potentially ruin the thing that has brought our human civilization to the point where we're even capable of solving the environment problem in the first place. Consumerist capitalism. If we take consumerist capitalism away, then we won't have any money to solve the environment problem. But if we keep it, then because of the way the stock market works and capitalism in general, we are essentially sacrificing the environment. It is almost like, as a human civilization, we have the capacity to either save the planet or to make money, but not both at the same time. If we save capitalism, then we sacrifice the environment. And if we save the environment, then we sacrifice capitalism. And around in my head this goes. We can't save one without sacrificing the other, and we need both things to survive. So what's the answer? Well, in my mind, there is no answer. Companies exist on the stock market in a capitalist system. If they do not pursue an absolutist mentality of profit over all else, then they will cease to exist. They will pursue profit. And so the decision, whether we like it or not, has already been made. The environment is forfeit. Plastic is just another can to be kicked down the road for others to deal with. So, why the toothbrush? There are a myriad of plastic things out there. Why pick on the humble toothbrush? Simply put, because we all need one and because they are inherently disposable. I chose the toothbrush because it represents all of us. We are all in this together. Solving the toothbrush problem is equally as incumbent on me to solve as it is on you. The toothbrush does not have value. It only has utility. Nobody is selling their second-hand toothbrushes on eBay. It is not an item of prestige. It conveys no real meaning by owning one particular toothbrush over another. There is no great disparity between the rich and the poor. We all use about the same amount of toothbrushes per person per year, give or take. Nothing is gained by owning a lot of them. And that's why I chose the toothbrush. For me, the ultimate thing about the toothbrush is that it will decide in my mind how capable the world is of solving the environment problem. Because if we need to remove plastic from our lives, our economy and our oceans, as well as everywhere else for the benefit of future humanity, but we can't come up with something to replace it in a toothbrush, then what hope do we really have?